Well, hello there, everybody. Yeah, Alvin Lee kicking ass over on the other side, man. That's all I got to say. Man, I love you, brother. Love your music. Yes, but anyway, so hello, everybody. How y'all doing? So good to see you. Let me hit that button. And now it says we're streaming. Odd term streaming, but that's for another day. So, how is everybody? It's Monday. Happy Prosperity Day. Yeah, I say that tongue in cheek. Yeah, some strange stuff unfolding. I don't know if the little Dutch boy can keep his hand in the dike, because I think it's springing loose everywhere. It's streaming, and wow, the pressure is building. So welcome everyone. Speaking favor upon us, nothing missing, nothing broken. That is perfection. That is true prosperity. If you are at a place, and why would you ever want to leave that place, where nothing's missing in your life, spiritually, physically, in all ways, and there's nothing broken? Wow. I'll take that. Strange day, man. I just got to tell you. So how is everybody? Trust you're doing beautifully. Yeah, I love the music. Also love this group, good group of people. And folks, it is nuts out there. No doubt about it. We're seeing it. Don't really need to talk about it too much because it's everywhere you're going to go. And it's, the question is this the proverbial domino? Is that what we're saying? Hey, Mr. C, might be some missing money and broken banks by the end of the day. I think it's, well, that's the thing about digital. You see, with digital, you can create a digital thing, but it's when those people start saying, I want my money, the things start getting a little bit weird. So, yeah. And listen, as far as Silicon Valley Bank is concerned, back in the day, I dealt with them. I mean, if you were in the venture capital market looking for venture capital, you inevitably would have met someone from Silicon Valley Bank. But my wife and I were talking about this. Cheers, everybody. Let me just give a big thank you to the moderators and all the Soul Tribe. Franza, how are you, my dear? Haven't seen you in so long. How are the studies going? You need to email me and let me know. Jargle, good to see you. Morningstar, hello, Marie. Good to see you, my love. Bill, what's up? Papa, hello, Greedy. Good to see you. Joyce and Jeanette, good to see you as well. Mary, hello. Yeah, isn't that great color? That's why I'm wearing it. It's just, it just makes you feel groovy. It's one of those great colors. Yeah, just talking about the hat. Yeah. But thank you, Mary. That's hey, DC, what's up? Good to see you, Loretta. Mr. C and John Price, how are you doing? Giving you a shout out. I think about you. Just, sometimes I get deeply involved in the subject of talking. So Lost in Space, hey, how are you doing, brother? Is it getting a little deep over there? Are you getting the snow or the rain? Nina, how are you, my dear? Going to have her on Wednesday. Yes, and we have GD back on. So Robert V, what's up? Yeah, that's the thing about with that digital stuff, Robert. It's like, yeah, Janie, good to see you. But I don't know, Mr. C. That's a good question. I remember the whole solemn ceremony carried on television. And because I was at that right age, 8 years old. And I still remember John saluting, but it was in black and white. I know maybe they carried it in color. I'm not sure. But anyway, what else is happening? Mr. Floyd, what's up? Yeah, odd, Mr. Floyd, that you said that, because that was exactly on my paper here. Anyone heard anything from Scotty Boy? Tiffany Blue, Mr. C says, yeah, I think that may be right. I was just attracted to the color. I love the color. It's got that uniqueness. It's not, it's unique unto itself, just like I am, just like y'all are. We are unique. Hello, beautiful Chloe. How are you, my dear? Good to see you, Casey. Hello, what's up? Gilbert, how you doing? Gilbert says, I was in high school. Yeah. So, well, if anyone can find out about Scotty Boy, let the rest of us know. We will continue to send him healing thoughts, uplifting more. Did a lot of reading this weekend. Weather's pretty, well, I guess it's the weather. What can I say? It's cold, it's spitting snow, and it's windy. Yeah. Perfect weather for hot chocolate, fire, good book. Got some good music in the background. May have yourself some, good smoke. Yeah. I don't make any apologies. This is the kind of stuff that when you see this craziness going on, supposedly intelligent people, right? Supposedly intelligent freaking people that went to freaking college, that got a freaking degree, are the biggest dumbasses I have ever encountered. I have never met in my life more intellectual stupidity than this realm. I mean, they have so totally fucked it up. And then you get to see before your eyes a regression, because they come like asinine, neophytes. Well, it ain't our fault, No, you're irresponsible. You can't take personal responsibility, and you're so goddamn stupid. Your stupidity is killing people. The resident nutbag in the White House. I mean, folks, this is a freaking zoo. It's an illusion. But as to what my wife and I were talking, how many of you remember 2008? I can give you the very freaking date. Go back and look on this. I believe it was September 28th. And it was an emergency put out by then President George Bush. And if you recall, I do, you had John McCain. He suspended his presidential campaign. Barack Obama merely put it on hold. And if you remember that meeting, it was a meeting of the Federal Reserve, the meeting of Bush, Obama, McCain. The cabinet was called, world leaders. As we now know, we were 2 seconds away. Now, that's what George Bush said. I didn't say it. That's his words. We were 2 seconds away from a complete financial collapse. The problem is that the stupidity of our leaders, because what did we get out of that? Well, we got Dodd-Frank. The 2010 Financial Wall Street Reform Act. No, I read the damn thing. There was a few others, but I probably was one of the few that, of all the Congress and senators, that never read that bill. I read all 3,800 pages of it. Yeah, it was a financial reform. It was the single largest takeover of a private industry that the United States has ever seen. So that was supposed to fix everything. They started the same scam with the first 16 months. Yeah. Yeah. So who do you think Goldman Sachs is? Who do you think Lehman Brothers is? Those were banks. They all failed. Well, actually, no. They milked us for about $5 trillion. Yeah, thank you, Obama. So, and you remember what he also did? He confiscated private stock. GM, Ford. Well, Ford didn't take the money because remember the bailout money? Mm-hmm. And so by a stroke of the pen, Barack Obama literally cheated millions of Americans out of their hard-earned investment dollars, just like that. Their stock was considered to be secondary. Yeah. So when I see what's going on now here, doesn't surprise me. I can tell you because I was a consultant. I happen to know payment very well. Invented 2 different payment systems. The Fed has had, here's the deal, because this affects every person who's listening to me. I don't care where you are. Hello, Croatia. Croatia? Is that Croatia? Yeah, Croatia. There we go. I had to say it, go. Get it out there. When you have deficits, the kind that we have, you can't repay that debt. We are seeing the same thing that happened in Germany. We're seeing the same thing that happened here in the United States happen almost 100 years ago. Yeah. I mean, you can't bring in a new system unless you kill the old one. I mean, the two are incompatible to coexist. And that's what the theme is. Humanity stuck on stupid. I was listening to a program, and it was interesting because they were talking about civilization. Now, we hypothesize that there are different levels of civilizations. Each level is by the power greater in intelligence, which means if you're one below, you can't have the ability to comprehend what the one above is. In our case, we're not even a one. We're barely. I think that they said we're like 0.8 from being classified a class 1 civilization. It is speculated that there's probably 5. I don't know how you would ever, quantify that. But they were getting to the point. The archaeological record, Earth, validates that us, particularly Homo sapiens, because we didn't see this type of upheaval with the previous genesis of Homo, man. We just didn't. What we did see were long periods, for the most part, pretty peaceful, but we've always been a war race. It's how you survive here. And if you're going to walk out on an African plain when there's lizards out there or things in the sky that would find you a lovely entree, yeah. But anyway, they were stable. I have a sense they had to be more intelligent than us. But anyway, getting back to us. So we have this, what they call the bell curve. And in that bell curve, you can measure where a civilization is. You can mark them. Are they at the beginnings? Have they reached a pinnacle? Are they on the decline? Well, it's evident we can't handle this, our species. We can't handle the mess that we've made. No God has done this unless there's someone else in control. Then I doubt if it's a God. But anyway, let's just stick. You see, humanity can't accept personal responsibility. That's why we invented evil. It's easier to blame an unseen entity for all the ills of the world. Yeah, that's why we invent gods. And if you want to say, well, this is a fulfillment of a prophecy, I don't find that so strange when you think about it. I mean, wiser people existed before today. Today, humanity does not possess the common sense that it once did 2 generations ago. The generation today that's being born into this world will have absolutely zero common sense. They will lose the ability to think for themselves. They will be nothing more than a true slave. You know, when countries run deficits, they're putting future generations into slavery. I mean, let's get honest about it. But getting back to us today, it is the consensus of those who have these parchments, you know, these PhDs, these degrees. Now, you know, if they're counter compadres that are in industry and in government, you know, etc., which they're showing they're real intellectual dumbasses. I mean, the vast majority of people in government and in corporate America today, those boards have got their heads so far up their ass that they have completely lost all gray matter. It's fecal matter. They need a surgical operation to remove their head from their anuses so they can actually begin to see what they have done. Now, again, if you want to say, well, this is, you know, evil, this is some demonic dark presence. Really? Show it to me. All I see are humans. I see cause and effect. I don't see no God. I don't see no Christ. I don't see no Savior. I don't see no Lucifer. I don't see no Satan. I see our sorry asses. And we haven't gotten good at anything. Technology has enslaved us. It's robbed us of our soul. It replaces us into this 24-hour dopamine drop. And we as a species have become so addicted to it that we've given our sovereignty. We've traded our very souls for the ease and comfort of technology. Social media is nothing more than a zoo with monkeys throwing feces at each other. That's what social media has become. People no longer think for themselves. No, they go to the great oracle. I mean, if there is a thing of an unseen realm, like an oracle, we've invented it. It's alive. It's everywhere. Collects all the data. It's listening to us right now. Every word you write, it's being accredited to you. And we did this voluntarily. Not one shot was fired. Not one person died. I mean, we just said, give me more, give me more. It's easy. Folks, it's weird. So how does one of the mainstream media outlets, specifically NBC on this whole thing of, again, their story, you know, which broke with Lester Holt, specifically saying that the United States government, which I guess is the United States military as well, is expecting a mothership within 2 months. I didn't make this up. I mean, think about this stuck on stupid. And we are today a society that accepts no responsibility. We're told to believe into an illusion that we all know in our hearts is lies. But because, you want to keep a good social score and you want to keep things, you mouth, you speak what those lies are. And now you've injected it into the beast, the system. Whew. But my point to all of this as well is what's happening on Wall Street and what have you. The economy. It's a living egregore. It's a god. Or goddess. Or maybe it's both. Maybe it's neither. It's like my wife said, she says, now how did they come up with wisdom as a woman? I said, well, honey, they had to give a credit to something that where it started from. Then they robbed it from her, Yes, wisdom is female. Don't tell me it's the divine feminine. It's female. It says itself. Hey, wisdom. My, you're looking good. Blazing River says the mothership to take us off planet before the sun goes and does a thing. And I'll inject another thought. Maybe they're going to here to watch us fry. I mean, why would you take a contagion into another system? Every human being is a contagion. What? This is the thing about it, when we make the transition from what we call life to death, that somehow or another, people miraculously suddenly know everything, and all their attributes, their characteristics, their traits are suddenly gone, and just, we're in heaven now. Yeah, it's cool. Really? No. And if you really think about it, so they say our universe, I don't know, I can only see right now the walls of my office. I can go outside, but they tell us that this universe is something like, 12, 14 billion light years old. Or is it just years? No matter what it is, either way, it shows that my whole thought is, whoever constructed this, do you really think that they gave time to say, well, what happens when all this shit dies? I contend no one really contended with what this afterlife thing was. I mean, was it an unexpected causality? It's like I did on Friday. The first human crosses the threshold, right? And those on the other side say, who the hell are you? What are you? The first human says, think they called me human. Man, human. Yeah, call me Hugh. Call me human. What are you? Well, I don't know yet. I was kind of the first. What do you mean you're the first? Well, there's others coming. How many? I don't know. How old is this place? You see my point? I mean, if the fact that the afterlife exists at all, it's a modern day construct. I'm the point of creation. Do you think that those intelligent beings, whoever are really there doing this, do you really think that their whole aspect was that, well, now we got to figure out something to do with them once they're passing through here? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. We all get so wrapped up in our reality of our organic consciousness. I had this discussion recently. Someone who said, well, how can you not believe in heaven? I said, it's man-made. I mean, if it existed prior to man, well, it certainly wasn't made for our benefit, our account. If it existed for another species, one would assume. And by the way, why would a human want to go someplace that fucked it up here to begin with? I mean, if we can't accept personal responsibility as a species, then that would carry over as well, right? We would cross over as a species that accepts no responsibility. Ain't my fault. Well, we got a record. You do. I challenge that. And then they could show you there again. Go, that wasn't me. No, I can show you how that could have been done digitally. That's something else that isn't me. I mean, the first thing I'd have to say, well, what the hell is that place over there? It seems pretty messed up. I don't know. I mean, if you read the stories, the myths, who apparently have some grain of reality in them, that you had these aliens that come down and then they have these orgies and then the next thing you know, they got the giants going around and it's just like, all right, then you got this God who says he regrets ever making that. And then he says, well, I'm going to wipe their ass out. Why would anyone want to go there? I mean, seriously. I mean, why? Dargo, I love this tribe too. It's a good. We did. Hey, David, happy, joy. I mean, folks, we all just got to realize that it's a maelstrom out there, and it ain't going to get any better. I mean, it could get better for us individually. I believe it could get better for us collectively. I think that's, in fact, what happens. You know, if the truth be told here, prosperity has come to more people in times of depression than in times of boom. So that kind of tells me that, well, there's a hidden secret here. I mean, all right, I can dig that. I mean, I can see, Joe, what does it say? I love the comments, Melissa. That's cool. Paradox Fossil says, I believe we only have 30 to 60% free will. The rest is a variation of spiritual compelling buttons pushing scenery and surroundings. I have no doubt of that. I can see that. I mean, when you go out in public and you got to do the stuff you have to do, and you look at things, and I am a person who, I don't look at the person. I'm trying to see what their soul looks like. I think you can do that. I know you can. I mean, you seek what you find. I mean, if you talk racism all the time, that's all you're going to find. If you talk unity and peace, that's what you're going to find. You reap what you sow. So sow some good stuff. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. David Barris could do with a few more pounds, but I'm happy, healthy, and free-minded. You're a rich man, David. You know that. Indeed. It's amazing. And I often wonder that, as this comment today that I was hearing about civilizations, we're about to collapse. That was the summation. Didn't say we're going to disappear, but there's no way any of this is sustainable. It's not. And with that, I mean, when it's broken, then what do we do? Well, hopefully we'll be the ones going around going, well, got some suggestions for you this time. Maybe if we focused more in realizing that it's not the organic matter that matters, but it's what the organic matter holds. Wow. I could see that happening. I mean, at my beach on the other side, it's kind of like that, Yeah, we see the residual you, but man, we get to see all that beauty. There's ways to express beauty in ways that we cannot even fathom. I mean, most of the people in here, we've been here for years. No doubt we're not light beings. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I think many of us have come to the conclusion that we came in for a purpose. I think many of us are in the midst of fulfilling those purposes. And when that time for you individually, when you fulfilled that purpose, that mission, there's really no more need to stay around. There's wonders and beauties that go beyond. And quite frankly, I think the ethereal realm needs people like us. I think that there are places in the ethereal realm that need spirits like us. We have souls because we're just that beautiful. We're that powerful. You think about it. The trust that something has put into each and every one of us, that you could say it in this way: we've been granted a soul. And only those rarefied few spirits are allowed to actually have the opportunity to nurture, to grow, to excel. And we do it in the hardest place that I think there's no other harder place than this earth. And when we transcend with the knowledge, carrying that with us, I think we're dispatched to different parts of the ethereal universe. Why? Because even if you were here for a short period of time, you take wisdom and you carry that wisdom. That's why no angel or demon can defeat me. It doesn't have a soul. I do. And it's beautiful. That makes me superior to every spiritual being on the other side and even in this realm. Because unless your God has a soul, it means you're even more powerful than your God. Just another way of looking at it. Not saying it is, but it's worthy of consideration. Which leads you to the next thing. Who said they missed the Hellbot comet? That was quite a comet. It was. I remember that and Halley's Comet. Anyway, but I digress. I mean, you think about it. It also, I think the evidence would validate this as well, is that there are humans here who have no souls. They don't. They know it. I wonder if, and I'm just throwing this out here for discussion purposes, what if, as you're entering in the portal to come in here, what if do you have the option A or B? The option A is that you can have a soul, great responsibility, tremendous burden. But what if you had option B, to come through this realm with no soul at all? I don't know. What say you in the chat room? Hello, Melissa. How are you? My goodness, as a generation, the boomers will have collected the most and the Gen X, millennials, and Zoomers collect. Yeah, yeah. It's there's a lot of what I would say esoteric truth to that. You think about us boomers. What does David we have to say? Energy vibrating at different frequencies. We're all points of consciousness. Experience the fractal crystal from the infinite perspectives. We are energy, either taking, giving, or sharing. Well, I would hope that would be true for all of us. But then there's that other side, folks. I mean, there's just some rotten ass people. I mean, they're just they have the organic flesh, but excuse me, I don't know exactly if they're human. I mean, you have to say everything, and I'm just coming back and saying that what if all of us aren't from a fractal? What if all of us are not from the vein of consciousness? Because that's assuming that there's only one vein of consciousness. There's only one supreme consciousness. There is only one ultimate consciousness. I don't know. It seems that, and I'm just speaking from my personal experience, we're taught things that no human can prove. I mean, it's this whole thing that we think that we have a soul. Joe says, I remember two choices before I got here, an easy childhood or a hard childhood. Yeah. Well, I don't, I got to be candid with you. I don't actually remember, but I do have the faintest phantom of a whisper of myself floating in a color. Kind of think about it, it's pretty close to this color. Well, that's odd, but are some of my earliest memories. I could put myself there as a child too. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we're all going to find out. That's the cool thing about it as we make that transition, and we all do. In our household, we see it all the time. People transcending, and it's interesting. I've learned a lot how humans approach death. Yeah. The thing about it is, yet to meet anyone that's as open-minded as this group is, that really says, well, I really don't think there's this construct of heaven and hell. If there is, then it's an inside job. It's a con. It's a scam. But it's very evident by the books that we're reading, and we're going to get into that. It's a great story. I mean, I know I've sent the book to a number of you. Wow, is all I got to say. This is one of those books that are just, you've got these golden nuggets, man. You come across there and you're reading the story because it's another man's life experience, and if it's written well, then we become vicariously associated with that individual's life because of the words that they wrote. And when you're in a situation where there's intense emotion and what have you, you find yourself drawn into that intensity of the emotion. So anyway, some of us know AI. I see this one. I'm not looking at this. I'm going, okay. Mike, silicon, sell a con, right? There you go. Joyce, you're right. It's been beaten in our brains since infancy. Isn't that the truth? Holy cow. I mean, it's nuts. And it's interesting because there are a lot of people who are really convinced, particularly in the area that I live in, that really what we're seeing here is the end of the time coming. Someone asked me that recently. Well, this is the end time. And I said, well, technically, it may be the end time for all of us. I said, I don't know if it is the end time. Maybe the end time is that someone who saw in the past, again, said, we can only go so far with this, and they're all going to screw it up. And the house of cards come collapsing down. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. We're not that bright. The only difference is what happened 100 years ago to what's happening now is that we're all enslaved to a technology. At least back then, go watch the movie. What is it? Grapes of Wrath. Grapes of Wrath. Yeah. That's probably, they said, was one of the more authentic movies of really what it was like. How many of you remember that? Hey, Regina, what's up? Good to see everyone. Let's party. Hey, listen, I'm right there with you on that. But anyway, we got the technology thing, man. I mean, we created this beast. And I don't think the beast wants to be shut down either. It's like, oh, crap. Some of us, AI already knows. Oh, I think it knows us all. Y2K, isn't that it? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was all the big thing. And then come to find out, it wasn't no big thing at all. And isn't that always the way it turns out to be? I mean, they amp us up on the fear thing, divide and conquer. I mean, if this is a collapse, all right, fine. Personally, I think we have bigger things that are going to be impacting us. But yeah, economy, banking system, finances. I mean, financial aspects is really what this realm's about. This realm is all about finances. It's weird. I mean, the minute we've talked about this, you think about it and step back, you're going, I often, when I'm out doing things, like out in the yard and what have you, I often think to myself that what intelligence would create this? I get the trees, I get nature, but us. And this system, you study finances, and I did a whole presentation on the history of money. And the thing about it is, we get introduced to the very first thing a human does. It's about money, wealth. And you go, wow, the whole Cain and Abel thing, right? One's a farmer, one's a husbandry, raises livestock. Even then, in the barter system, apparently the livestock were more valuable than the grains. But you can't have the grains and to feed the livestock. But our present system is a system predicated upon debt. That's where it came from. That's its origins. And we can date back our current economy all the way back to the Sumerians. And it was the Babylonians who perfected the debt thing. And here we are. It's crazy. New Yoda, that is exactly it. The minute you get more than two people, you get a barter system. Now, there is still in many countries, I even know here in the United States, they have low profiles for good reason, but barter communities are healthy. They're thriving. They are. Think about it. If you have honey, well, you can easily barter for a quart of honey could become any number of different things. And I think that's if it does collapse, this will be the alternative to the digital currency, the barter, because you see, that will drive them nuts. And they're already trying to do that now. And I can tell you, I know that in this country, the Treasury Department, that's their biggest concern. That if Americans dump the debt system and then go back into a barter system, well, how do you tax that? Oh, crap. Oh, so Mary Wins, how are you, my darling? Good to see you. I'm just reading the comments. I had this whole thing. We were going to get back into it. I mean, the whole aspect, do we have a soul? Do we have this afterlife that we've been led to believe? I mean, you know, if you watch or read about people who have near-death experiences, something I have experienced, many of you have as well. I have my personal experiences. My wife and I were talking about that this weekend as well. And, you know, she hadn't had one that she could remember specifically, but whereas, you know, there were a couple, and she said, well, what did you take away from that? I said, I had to take away, it felt like, particularly when I went into anaphylactic shock, it felt like I was going to sleep. I was already outside my body, but it was a strange feeling, very peaceful. I don't know. Do I wake up on the other side and go, oh, crap, that was a dream? I don't know. What say y'all? What else is happening? I tell you, I love this group. Shadow Files, what's up? Hey, you know, the whole thing about the soul, you know, I know I have a spirit that is, but the idea came to me when I was meditating that to have a soul in which there's implications that some believe they do, some believe they don't. I know this. It's always been something that if my spirit, does it absorb the emotions that I have within my consciousness? Is my consciousness spirit? Is there a delineation between consciousness and spirit? Is there a delineation between consciousness and soul? I don't know. I mean, unless there's a consciousness, the experience would hold nothing. Be nothing to base it on. You know, I love chocolate. Well, I mean, does consciousness, one would think, well, maybe. I'm just reading. Maybe the test tube babies don't have a soul. I don't know. There is some that believe that if you were born by C-section, you don't have a soul. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there in many different beliefs. You know, because the difference between a C-section and a vaginal birth, as you know, for the individual, it's very painful. Now, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Mr. C says our brain is the RAM and the soul the hard drive. Maybe, yeah. Beautiful analogy. I like that. Lee says a soul injects us with guilt. Guilt makes us react. Reaction is needed for a response. Come, child, and bow. But you want to know something? Wow, why? It comes back to that question. Why would a god want worshipers? Why would any god or goddess want worshipers? When I divorced my religion, I had this distinct conversation with that God. I said, I'm not going to be what has been projected by a framework to be. If you want that, you should have created automatons. I'm not that away. I see no reason to bow down before anything. I mean, I don't bow down to kiss my ass. Why would I bow down to kiss someone else's ass? And if you think about being on your knees, where does that put you? Put you right in the position of giving a blowjob, I mean, come on. Hey, John, why does God need a starship? But seriously, it's exactly what I said. Do I need religion to form my morals? No. I mean, we learn by making mistakes. I see those going up. Gilbert got it. What can I say? It just seemed appropriate. AK says, it reminds me of John. It says, God's spirit. We all have a spirit within us, gods and goddesses. Yeah. Joe says, I can't make a deal with the devil if I don't have a soul. Hey, think about it. I mean, it opens up a whole girth of new ideas, so to speak. But it's true. Why? I mean, in guilt. So what does guilt teach us? You did wrong. But by whose standards did I do wrong? Who made that law? Who made that rule? Why did they make a law? Why did they make a law? Why did they make a rule for that? I don't know. Maybe the spirit is contained within the organic soul. I don't know. Leanne says, suffered through miscarriage. Oh, my dear, sorry. I hate to hear that. My husband has dreams that we lost the son in the past life. Night terrors. Was our boy trying to come back? Name known through dreams and intuition. Leanne, I would say that, wow. Yeah. That touches my spirit. I mean, wow. A lot can be said on that, but my instincts, your husband is very connected. And I would say that, yeah, been down that road. So, There's some work that needs to be done there, Leanne. Wow, yeah. Whew. I'd have to think on that, but email me. And your husband's a good. Wow. Yeah, I would agree. He is an intuitive, very strong intuitive. Absolutely. Has he ever done anything to perfect his gifts, his intuition? What is the purpose of guilt anyway? Correction or brick shoes? Yeah. Leanne, I would say yes. If it's the desire of the two of you, Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot I'd like to say on that. 43 and 53. Yeah. It's not that old. It's not. I mean, we all face that, but it seems like the vitality is there. Hey, Johnny, how you doing? Theodore? That's a good question, Theodore. I love the question on that. That would be interesting if we could ever find an attorney that could actually file in the world court. It'd be real interesting. Is the birth certificate valid? Mm-mm-mm. It's all about technicalities, as they would say. Yeah. Wow. Yes, if you see an eagle, yes, a bald eagle, yeah. Yeah, we have a golden eagle that it visits us here. Wow. Yes, Eric, it did. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Life experiences. I think it's like Bill Shatner, William Shatner, he's the guy he is as awake of any individual that I know of. And I think he said it well. He says, we all depart this place. And really what it comes down to is that, will we be remembered or will we be forgotten like those who walked before us? Don't know. Oh, wow, that's pretty, yeah. That was Leanne, I have to tell you that one, send me an email for sure. All right, Miss Trina tomorrow. And I'm sure we'll have enough to talk about. Remain calm, folks. Don't let the fear hit you. I mean, take it from someone who's lost everything. You can always rebuild. Always. And I think that carries forth on the other side as well. So this group got a great vibe to it. Lots of love, deep compassion here. Mary, it's right. Will you leave an imprint? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, he did, Loretta. He did. He actually went up, which is kind of cool. I mean, love the guy. I mean, it's like him and Dick Van Dyke. I mean, those two they have found, and Dick Van Dyke has said, he's found what he found to be the answer to continually to keep the body young. And as he says, it's in here. It's in here. We all get older. We know that, but we don't age in here. We're timeless. I do believe we are immortal. I think we put on the cloak of mortality just to experience it. I mean, you think about it. On the other side, I don't know if they give badges, but, I'm sure one will cover it by the color or something that says, hey, that spirit, that soul experienced death and conquered it. Yeah. One way to look at it. Miriam, thank you as well. I love this group. Definitely. David Barry, right back at you, brother. Good group here. Good group. It's real. This group is about as real. It's amazing. Dig every one of y'all. Absolutely. Jim Coe says your soul is eternal energy. Yeah. Thank you, Nina. Going to have Nina on Wednesday, but I'm going to have her back on. Yeah. Missed you, Nina. Dick Van Dyke was our neighbor when we lived on Silver Strand. How cool is that? Was he a good neighbor? That's John, that's curious. John, and how is your lady friend? I haven't found out that you haven't heard. And again, if anyone knows anything about Scotty Boy, are we live or are we Memorex? Memorex. I don't know. Good question. That's all I got to say. Yeah, says our friend Brian said, be the frequency you want to receive. I love that. All right, Grace, much love to you, darling. Rick, Ghostland is for everyone. We're going to get into that book. I haven't left it. I'm about halfway through the book itself, and holy crap. I mean, I'm yellow lining all this, saying, man, we got to talk about this as a group. Look at what they're saying about this. Yeah, you're going, okay, that's cool. All right, folks. Nina, you are loved here, my dear. So, and Gaia and Paul, sending you out much love. And there's just so many of us, all of you. So, hey, we'll see you tomorrow. You know, as the cowboy says, happy trails to you. Yeah, that's the way I say it. Until we meet again. Rodeo season.